What is up, internets? It is Casey Turbos, and we are here for another Walk a Day live. It's gonna be awesome. I think we got a whole new video set up. I'm using some XSplit to hopefully figure out and fix some of those problems that we were having last time. So before we get started, I grabbed a couple of little things to kind of illustrate a couple of the ideas that we were talking about over the last 2 days. The first principle that we talked about was squash and stretch, and how that can add life and a lot of reality to your animation. And the main principle of that is that when you stretch it out, it still retains the volume, and when you squash it down, it still retains the volume, but you can see it move that way. And if this will show up, you'll see the bounce, and not really, but when it bounces, stretches out before it hits, and then squashes as it hits. So anyways, that's just kind of a little example there. And then yesterday we talked about, it was overlapping action, and that's, so let's say this is shown in the camera. If this is the start, if this is the base, when you swing to the right and swing back to the left, you'll see that first the chest will start to move, then the hips, and then finally the tail. So that's kind of a little just visual aid for overlapping action. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into today's animation principle that we wanted to talk about, and I got it right up here. This is from Frank and Ollie, two of the awesome old men, writers of the Illusion of Life book that is a must grab if you're getting into animation. Definitely do it. So let's read that through. Secondary action. This action adds to and enriches the main action and adds more dimensions to the character animation, supplementing and or reinforcing the main action. For example, a character is angrily walking towards another character. The walk is forceful, aggressive, and forward-leaning. The leg action is just short of a stomping walk. The secondary action is a few strong gestures of the arm working with the walk. Also the possibility of dialogue being delivered at the same time with tilts and turns of the head to accentuate the walk and dialogue, but not so much to distract it from the walk action. All these actions should work together in support of one another. Think of the walks as the primary action, and the arm swings, the head bounce, and all the other body as the secondary or supporting actions. Alright, so let's just kind of keep that in mind as we get into today's walk. Alright, so I already have, this is Maya 2010, and let me make sure we are still recording. Looks like we are, and hopefully this video is streaming well. So we'll see in an hour if this ended up working. I'm trying to keep these within an hour so that you can go from start to finish with me and have something to play with and to show off to your friends or to just learn from. So this way you can do it every day if you want to, or at least you can learn something with me every day too. So what we did was we just created a base, something for him to stand on, but we're going to try something different. I figured we would play around. Let's do another cylinder like we did yesterday. And to show off the secondary action, I thought this would be a good way to do it. So we're just going to create that cylinder and rotate it with X. And we're going to hit R to stretch it out. And let's shrink it down a little bit. We did this yesterday, but instead of having him hanging from it, we're going to have him standing on it. Help maintain balance and work on that a little bit. And we can see the secondary action in the arms and legs as it tries to maintain the balance as well. So let's put that translated 0 and make sure it's right at a 90-degree angle just so that it's going to be easy for us to start with. And we'll pull it down a little bit here and raise these feet up and the hips. And like we've been talking about, one of the first big things that you want to do is get a good first key pose. Excuse me, I got the hiccups today. So we want the feet to be on here. They're intersecting right now though. So let's raise them up here a little bit more. And one of the big things with the key poses is you want to have them read in silhouette. So if this was black and white and there was just a single camera or light shining, you'd still be able to kind of read in, well, not kind of, you should be able to tell exactly what's going on from just basically the shadow of what you were doing. And so we go like that, and like that. So I hope this video is working a lot better than the last one, because we were having some troubles yesterday. It kept crashing and everything, and that's no good. But this new XSplit program, which I'll put the links to in the comments below, should work a lot better. It looks like it is. Fortunately, it's not actually going to be 100% live on YouTube when I do it, but I am doing a live recording, so you can see the mistakes, you can see the successes, and you can work along with me. So if you follow these, you should be able to get the same results and learn a little bit about animation and play around and test your skills. If you're already a pro, keep you at least progressing by doing something every day. Every day, try and pushing yourself further a little bit. And let's get a little bit of toe action here, and maybe even some. That'd be good. Yeah, that looks alright. A little bit of foot rock in there. And don't be afraid to play around with controllers that you don't always use on any rig, just to make sure that you can kind of get the real feel of that pose down. Rock a little bit here too. Pull it down a little bit. Okay, we can get into, actually let's swing these back a little bit more. And with posing, a couple of things you want to keep in mind too is you always want to make sure the weight is believable, because if we put them too far like this, that wouldn't be a natural pose. It breaks the foot, but we could always curl that up. But actually, that'd still be doable. But something like this, the weight would be way too far forward. Can't aim at the camera. That's all right. Learning. It would be too far forward and he would just fall. So that wouldn't support it. So you want to make sure that you get somewhere in a balanced position where the hips are resting in a good weighted place between the feet. And the same goes with the head and chest as well. You want to make sure those are still within a balanced range. And now on this one, we want to put the arms outward because it's going to help maintain balance as he's trying to stay on this beam here. Okay, so first off, always save your work, save lots, save often. So we're just going to label this, and we'll come up with the official name for the walk towards the end here. And we're going to set a key on there. Okay, so we got the back foot here, set it there, and we're going to bring it forward. And remember that we are thinking about secondary action today, so the arms and the legs and the head and all the other body parts are going to be very important today because that's our main focus as we're going through. Now the foot's going to just intersect through there, but we can come and clean that up later. We're just getting the real nuts and bolts down of the walk right now. So we're just going through the feet and pull the hips forward. And got them dipping down here. As you can see, like something like right here, that feels a little too far forward on the hips for me. It's still believable, but I would probably normally have it back right there, but we'll clean that up in a bit. We're still just adding the nuts and bolts. Just go down to the time slider and we'll punch in 48 frames because that's what we like to do every day, is at least 48 frames of animation to keep us progressing and working towards mastering this craft, which a lot of people say it takes a lifetime, if not more. So 48 frames a day, that's 2 seconds of progress every day. Which you might say, 2 seconds, that's not that much, but you know, that's an hour worth of work every day. Oh, and we messed up there. Okay, so we got that going up there, and 36, so we're going to move that forward there. And we got to play catch up on the hips there. Okay, now let's see if we got at least, put some more up and down into those hips, down, and up, and down, and up. Sure, still recording, looks like we are. Now, let's go into the graph editor, And I didn't really set this up yet, so hopefully tomorrow or later this week I'll get it so that I can have two screens going so you can see the graph editor and it won't intersect with the main viewport. But for right now, we're still going to do a little bit of back and forth with the graph editor just so you can see what I'm doing. We're just cleaning up the translate so that's all even, and also the up and down so those are a little more even on the throughout. And again, we can mix them up later and everything, but we're just trying to lay the groundwork for the walk here. So that should give us a little more. The next thing we're going to do is make sure the spacing, which is the distance between the feet, is pretty uniform. If you see, the distance between these two first feet is about the size of this little square here in the cursor, but in the next one I put a little more space there and a little more space there. This one goes back to there and that one's too small. Okay, so let's try and even that out a little bit. I'm going to start by pulling this foot back a little bit. I think a good medium would just be the square plus a little bit between the feet and keeping that kind of uniform there. And again, on real like movie style production walks, it's most people don't walk super evenly, so it's perfectly fine to do that. But when we're doing something where we want to get something that looks good every day and do that, keeping it fairly uniform is good, so you can plug it into a cycle or something if you wanted to do that later. Some people, well, with cycles, the real way, or a way a lot of people do cycles, is just have it stay in one position and then you move the root controller. But I find that, at least for the videos and everything, it's better to actually get him moving. It's a little more realistic because you get a lot of foot slips and everything when you're doing that. Like if you're watching a video game, you'll see that the character has this little like circle underneath him a lot of times, and but the feet contact when they're moving doesn't always look super natural because it's set up so that you can put that anywhere and plug it in anywhere, but the feet don't always look like they're fully contacting and touching the ground and staying planted on the ground. They look like they're just perpetually sliding while running. And again, I'd probably go into that more in depth later, but I'm trying to think through this walk as well. So what we're doing now is we're just going to swing those feet out on those passing positions and bring them back in. You know, it'd be fun. What if we tried dipping the feet down as well, so they'd swing down and out? That could be fun. So we'll try that too. And I'll show you what I mean if you don't get that here in a second. But we're just going to get these. So we got that. And we got to fix those knees too. That's going to bug me for a little bit. But again, we're just laying the groundwork here. So what I meant is we can swing them down, so it would go whoa, and then back up. And we're going to have to clean that up a lot because I'm sure that'll intersect with this pole that we've got there too. But we just want to get the idea working, and that looks like it's too far swung out, so we want to... And let's do this guy. Bring him down, and up, out, and down. And so let's see from the side if that, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for. Now again, we're going to clean that up in a lot, but that gives us the base info that we want for that. Then let's go ahead and usually I do a lot with the hips first before I move it into anything else, but I guess I'm mixing it up a little bit today, and that's okay. It's always fine to try new workflows and try new things, but you just don't, the nice thing about getting a good workflow is that way you don't forget or miss doing a certain controller in the hips or adding a certain amount of weight on something or anything by getting a nice workflow that helps you stay consistent. But I think these feet will be fun to do. And again, remember, this is going to be the secondary action because the main action is going to be that he's walking on a pole. That's the, if you were describing the scene, it'd be, you know, guy walking on a tightrope or a pole or whatever. So let's see. Now, first thing that I noticed when I watched this, and a lot of animation that I found that really helps boost your stuff up, is just to watch your own shots over and over and over again. And maybe you won't see everything right away, but you might see, hey, this bugs me on this time I watched it. So you go and fix that. Then you watch it 3 or 4 more times and go, you know what, now I'm seeing this that bugs me. So you go in and you rework it and you do that. One of the things that I used to do a lot when I was going to school was right now, before I get into that, we're going to just send the weight of the hips over so that it's favoring each side as the foot's on it. So anyways, what I used to do a lot when I was working on production shots or school shots or anything is like play blast my animation and then just throw it on my phone. And then when I'd go on breaks or anything, just watch it over and over and over again and keep a little journal with me. And every time that I'd watch it, just try to find, I would have a daily quota that I would give myself for errors or things I didn't like about it to find. And if I could hit 7 and then fix those 7 every day, that really helped me to improve a lot. So in this case, let's just say this was my final animation right now. I'd play blast this out, throw it on my phone, and be like, okay, well, there's no movement in the chest, so I'd write that down and then go through and add, you know, 7 more things. But there's tons. This isn't done at all. So we're just working there. So we got some rotate in the hips, so let's add some in the chest to offset that. And hope you guys are enjoying these. I'm having a blast sharing this stuff with you. And again, like always, if you have any ideas or suggestions or comments or anything that you think I could do better or anything that you think is really great, definitely share them with me. I'm happy to help with any way that I can. So let's go in and clean up these hips because we threw a bunch of stuff at them. This is the translate X is the side to side sway or lean back and forth. So we're just going to kind of even that out a little bit. We're going to push this further than I usually do. I usually would only not do it fully at like a 1. Again, I don't know if I mentioned it in this video yet, but this is the Goon Rig from the wonderful folks over at How to Cheat in Maya, which is a great book series. They usually do one, I think, almost every year with a really great instructor who worked on that, Kenny Roy, and also Eric Luda, I believe is how you say the last name. But just phenomenal teachers. I learned tons of stuff from those books as well. They're a little more technical than, say, the Illusion of Life or Animator's Survival Kit. But that's really nice for any 3D animation that you're doing. You're going to need all those technical tips as well as just the more theoretical and conceptual tips that the other books really teach, which is absolutely necessary. But if you can't implement it into a program, then that's not going to help you at all. Okay, so we added a little rotate, which would favor the forward foot each time, and we're going to balance that out. And this is starting to look all right already. So I'm happy with the idea behind this. I hope you guys are enjoying that too. Now we need to add a little rotate in the chest as well. So it's going to favor that side and favor that side. Over here, over there, and over here. So let's see what we got. That's alright. I think we need to balance it out. There's a couple smooth parts. Let's look from the back. It's okay. Again, we got to fix those knees because those are intersecting a lot, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We're getting there. Okay, just make sure that we kind of evened out the rotates here and the translates. And remember, this is just to do you know, a simple walk while you're learning and trying to get something that that looks believable and has weight and balance and everything. If you're looking for really super precise stuff, I'm sure there are tons of videos and books and everything that you can get on this. But this is definitely, you know, I wanted to do something where I could put out something every day that you guys could follow or learn from every day, and that was something that wouldn't be, 6 hours long, 8 hours long of the whole process. Because I always found when I was learning animation that you'd get, a 10-minute clip or something, which would show some of the highlights of animating during that thing, but it wouldn't show you the nuts and bolts of how they went from complete start to complete finish. It was just like, here's 10 minutes during this phase, and here's 10 minutes during that phase. So let's go ahead and add some swing to the arms as well. Keep in mind that we're doing the secondary action stuff. This is the stuff that supports the idea and sells the idea. If you guys are looking to learn more, definitely I cannot recommend Animation Mentor enough. They're wonderful folks over there. That's where I learned almost everything. That and just sitting in front of Maya for hours and hours and hours till my brain fried. And I still have tons to learn. Tons and tons to learn. That's why you do it every day, so you can get a little bit better every day, work towards something. I think that's a good kind of principle to have in every aspect of life. I'm not really liking how that is working, so let's change those. Let's do the opposite. I'm sorry, I'm not doing the graph editor up on the screen here. I'm just switching it around so it'd be like, because I don't want the arm to do too much, and if we delay it, I'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, again, we're just going through and we're adding some on the arms and then in the forearms. Let's see. And I think I was doing the opposite on that because I really didn't want that to be the focus. I just want to make that look alive and have some feeling to it. If I kept doing it this way and pushed it, it would be really, that would be, come to be the focus. But this, you just want a little give in that elbow. And this one could probably use a little more as well. So let's ramp that up. So let's see. Okay, you can kind of feel that, and we'll offset it a couple of frames, and I think that'll work all right. Okay, and we're gonna do that, do that, and that. Yeah, that's all right. Again, we could totally play up these arms and make them really floppy and everything, but I think I like the focus to be kind of on what the feet are doing and the hips rather than the arms on this one for some reason. Normally I usually play up the arms a lot more. And I think I'll probably still mess around and tweak till I find something good on that, because I'm not really sold on that movement yet. Especially this one. This one feels too stiff. And again, like I said, with any animation, don't get too attached to it. Don't be like, well, I spent, 15, 20 minutes, 2 hours, 6 hours on this, and I can't afford to delete it. If it doesn't support the story or the idea that you have behind it, then dump it. And be okay with doing that. That takes a while, and especially I remember starting out when I was first getting into drawing, especially, I'd spend an hour on a drawing, half an hour on a drawing, even 10 minutes on a drawing, and I just spent that much time on doing this. But after you spend 6, 8 hours drawing a day, you kind of, a drawing doesn't turn out well, throw it away, who cares, it's not. But when you're first getting into it and working another job and all you can do is a few minutes a day, you want to You want to save everything you do, and that's okay. You get, okay, we're just throwing some knee twist in here and see if that will clear it up, because we don't want that intersection to happen. And I think that'll work as long as there's not too many knee pops from the side. I think that's a good idea. And that's kind of a nice line of action if you follow from the head, which will add some animation to. I should probably put over here. It would flow from down here over there to down there, and then if we could add a little bit on the toe, that'd be a nice line of action there. And lines of action are really cool. They're selling movement. I'm sure one of these days I'll spend at least a few minutes giving you some examples of line of action. I thought about doing a couple draw overs and everything too with some of this stuff, so that you can see that as well. But right now we're focusing on just talking about, for the little time before we start our walk-a-days, about the 12 principles. So let's see. And let's see from this side. See, that's working all right. I still feel like it's leaning too far over to that side. I don't know if that's just a feel that I'm getting from it, or if I do have these keyed a little more to favor that other side. You can see what I'm talking about. I feel like this down side is way further down than this one, even though they're probably about the same if I was to draw a line across the screen. But I'm just going to check the rotates and make sure that that's just, yeah. Okay, so here, see what I was talking about? I felt like that was too far down on that other side. It's because look at the tangents where they're keyed up here, and this one's down almost 5 more values than the other one. So that's why that was feeling down a little bit more. So let's see if that feels a little better. Yeah, a little bit. The arms still feel a little stiff to me, so maybe we could add some swing to them. So we could swing it back, and swing it forward. Just because from the side view, from the back view, you know, they look very, there's a lot of movement in them, but from the side view, there we go, that feels a little better. Now you're getting a little bit of a circle movement throughout that. Nice little arc for there. And we could polish that up a lot, but that gives a lot better feeling, I feel like, at least from the side view, than we were getting previous to it. So let's see how that's working. Yeah, see, now instead of, and if you don't know what I mean, I'm talking about, you'll start, the hand position will start off here, and go around to there, so you'll have an arc there, and go down to there, so you have it arcing down, and then arcing back up, so you get a nice little circle motion in the hand instead of just up and down. And that adds it from the side perspective at least a little bit more. And you probably won't even really see that much of it from this side. You'll still pretty much just see the bend and straighten from that perspective. But from the side, it'll feel a lot more like it's alive. And then on top of that, let's add a little bit of sway in the forearm on that as well. Let's see if that. And pull that back. Push that forward. And we still got to get rid of these flat mitts that we have on the hands. Hope the video's still doing alright. I hope you guys can still see everything. It looks like it's streaming just fine on this stuff, so that's great. I love Google Hangouts, which is what YouTube Live uses. But for some reason the screen share on that stuff just was freezing up like crazy. So I think from now on this is going to give us a little bit better videos as well. And I felt really bad putting up the one yesterday with all the errors and everything in it, so I stayed up till like 2, 3 in the morning trying to figure out some new programs that might deliver stuff a little bit better. Oh, but you know what we forgot? We forgot to do the swing on the upper arm here. So on the same side, this leg is in the back, so we want the swing on that arm to be forward. forward, back and forward, and back and forward. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, see, that's alright. I think we could add a little more forearm. Well, should we do it? See, this is the part of animation that's fun. It's like, well, right now you can see the his left arm. It has a lot more movement than the right arm. It feels, even though it's got the same type of movement, it's just escalated up a little bit more. So now we have two options. We can either scale this arm down or push this arm up. But you know what? I like that that one's a little more lively. So let's scale it up a bit. I just like the feel of that. And then we'll just play with. We need to do not the back so much. We need to do more on the front. Still feel like there's a little too much straight on there, so we'll shorten those up, push those forward. Let's see. Let's try this instead. And now the hand feels a little stiff since we were loosening up that forearm, so let's get that going. And you'll find one of the reasons that starting with especially in more polished, finished animation, that starting and doing more of a layered approach, which I'm sure I'll get into and talk more, but that's where you start off with one aspect, which would be like the root or the hips, and then do the chest, and then do the head, and then do the legs, and then do the arms, but doing it more in that focused can really get things to work rather than kind of doing, you know, well, I just want to work in this, I'll work on that. Having more of a set approach to doing it makes it so that when you want to go in and fix things or tweak things that will end up changing everything, if you've got portions working already, then it'll be easier to do. Okay, now I think instead of having too much bounce on the head, let's just have it do the sway side to side. So, like I said, with the line of action, now that we tilted the head, we get that, if we drew a line, we could go all the way from there down to there. And actually, let's throw some of that, no, I know there's one for the toe roll. Nope. No. Does this one not have it? This one had a toe rock, but maybe that's the other one that I'm thinking of. Oh well, we can still drag the toe down. And lift it up here. But you can see that even though this rig doesn't have the controller, and the one that I was thinking was a toe rock, where just the toe could be leaned in this way. But I think I might be thinking of a different rig. Okay. But you can still see that nice line of action going from the head, through the chest, down into the butt, down to the leg, and out through the... And that's what's really... one thing that really makes animation, nice animation work. If you look at a lot of old cartoons, they would totally do that, where you have the guy, you know, punching, and the punch would go from the hand out to the, like a straight arm, and then they'd even like maybe cock the head back, and then have it go all the way through the foot, which would be like splayed out in position 4, and you could really read that clear line of action that way. But we're working on the head, so let's get back into the head. I do tend to go off on tangents a little bit, but this is live, and I'm having fun with you guys, so hopefully you guys are getting something out of that as well. And again, we're just laying down the basic. We're going to go in there and tweak all this movement in a little bit, but just to see. It's actually not too awful. And one thing that's another good thing that you can try when you're still learning animation is to, well, switch your angles all the time, because you want to make sure that just because it's working in the side view doesn't mean, your weight might be totally off on a different view. And even though you might not be able to really see that just from like one angle or on one frame, if you can get in there and do it, it'll make your animation a lot better if you make it so that it works on every frame and every different viewport. Sorry, because you'll start feeling those weight shifts and the turns on the hips and the little stuff will really just help push your animation rather than just sticking to one aspect. Okay, so right now I'm just toning down the neck a little bit and amping up the head, because I liked the head kind of being a little floppier and a little bit more delayed. Maybe let's even delay that one more frame. So let's see. So you can see kind of the head, even though the chest hits and it's getting ready to go to the other side, the head's still favoring that last position it was at. Okay, let's throw in some more toes, because those feet are looking staticky from back here. And when I say staticky, I mean that they're looking just flat, like there's not a lot of change of shape and everything in there. And we're just adding a little overlap on the toe there. Maybe we could even drag the toe back even further. We're getting a little intersection there, so we're going to need to clean that up before we're done too. And again, we still got to do some stuff on the hands, and the head feels a little too floppy from this side, so let's, even though it looks good from the back, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to do a side view for the upload on this one rather than the back, just because I like, you don't see the dip down on the feet from the back. You feel it a bit, but it looks better from this side, and I like showing that off a little bit more. Again, remember, we're thinking a lot about secondary action today, so the main purpose of this is just going to be Guy walking on a tightrope or a small pole, and walking, screen left to screen right. The secondary action is going to be like how he does it and what the arms are doing and what the legs are doing. Okay, let's just start getting in. And then before, since we didn't really get a good hand pose to begin with, let's start off with something a little better. And the only thing, now that I look at this, this was our first initial pose. I feel like the legs look okay in silhouette and the chest does, but if we turn this all black and white, and I'll have to figure out how the settings are to do that in here, the hands would look really muddled up, where if we pushed this one forward just a little more, it would show out there, and if we push this one back a little bit more, you just could see the other hand sticking out. And we don't want to amp that too much up, because we still want to keep the animation that we have working well. We don't want that first arm move to be really boisterous. But it just helps that initial pose a little more, I think, because now we know you could see this hand sticking out a little bit, and you'd be able to see a little bit of space in here, so you know that arm was hanging back there. Okay, now let's get in and let's get some hand poses. First off, let's just grab the bases here. And what do you think? What do you think? Should we have the fingers angled down, or should we push them up? Yeah, let's just mix it. We'll add a little spread in between there, and we'll just favor it like that. That's fine. No, I'm going to want those up a little bit more. And they have there are controllers, at least with this rig, for doing master grip and master spread and everything, but those ones I don't tend to use as much. Occasionally I'll throw them in at the end if I just want a little more tightening or loosening throughout, but I like to get in and do the each individual finger so that we can split it up and everything too. Okay, so right here the hand's going to drag back, so the fingers are going to drag back as well, so we'll grab unfortunately on this rig you can't grab both or all of the spreads at the same time. They work opposing to each other, so the index and the mid go together, and the ring and the little one do, so you can grab both of those. And we're just adding a little more drag than we would get on there. And then once we're done with this, I want to kind of go in and just retouch up those feet a little bit, and then we're going to add some more animation into the butt controller there. I'm sure there's a better name for it, but it's not the hip controller, even though it is the hips, but it's really just the butt, because the hips work on the main root controller there. Okay, so we got a little bit of give into the fingers now, if you watch that, but I think we could play that up a little bit more and add some more intrigue to it. So one way that we can do that is we could have it, we could have all of them kind of curled down a little bit here, and then raise back up a little bit here, curl down a little bit here, and raise back up. So let's see what that does. I think I want to do the opposite though. I like that idea, but I think I want to do the opposite. So we'll do index, base, mid, and tip, middle, base, mid, and tip. And we're just going to do the opposite there. So when we previously had them going up, they'll be going down, and vice versa. So I like the idea there, but I think I had it the opposite way. And like I said, with animation, it's always fun to just try different stuff and see if that works, or if you like that idea, or if you want to switch it up. So that way they go up here, but that means we're going to have to bring, I think we can just move the whole thing. So it's down a little bit more. Okay. But now you see there's a little bit of weightiness where the fingers aren't just swinging back and forth, they're also doing a little bit of this action. And now we're just gonna, we have everything kind of keyed on the same frames and everything, so we're just gonna spread everything out a little bit. So you're gonna grab the mid and tips, mid and tip, mid and tip, and mid and tip, and we're just going to delay those a frame, then go back through and do all the tips, and delay those a frame. And that's going to be so that, if you can see on camera, this would lead the action, this would follow, and that would go last. So when you're stretching it out, you see this one guy goes out first, then that guy, then the other one. And that's kind of going into that overlapping action that we were looking at yesterday. Now beyond that, I like to grab everything on a little finger and delay it a frame, and grab everything on the index finger and push it forward a frame. So let's see how that turned out. Okay, that mixes it up a little bit in the hand, but I think we could accentuate kind of the drag in that baby finger there. So let's get into it. So in this one, like right where it's right there, we really want to drag that, so let's push it back a little bit more. And then I think kind of the opposite, we're going to really lead with that index finger, so it's fine there, but on something like this, I'd really like it to lead a little more. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I feel like that's, you know, I don't want it to be the focus of everything, but you definitely want to keep it alive and keep it moving and everything for it. So the only other thing that I want to do with this hand before we call this hand good, and then we're going to do the same on the other side, is add something into the thumbs. So I think the front would be thumb back here, then thumb out, thumb back here, and thumb out. And where I kind of do the finger movements kind of on a base 6, this would be on a base 12. Maybe I want to do the opposite, because that's not giving me enough movement here. It also could be that I just need to add some spread into it instead of just the base controller, because the thumbs are a little bit different than the rest of the digits, because these ones have your regular... My thumb's a bad example because I only have 2 joints in my thumb, but you have this movement here, then you have the regular. So it's kind of like a larger version of the index base, but it's down here, and it also has a larger range of motion. Okay, that's working all right. And just for good measure, since we're getting into this, we're gonna add a little bit of mid. And again, kind of the same thing. We're just gonna delay that 1 frame from what we have the rest of the stuff on, and a little bit of tip. And I don't want too much because the thumbs can come really noticeable, I find, with this rig if there's too much play with them. Sorry if I bashed the mic there, I wasn't trying to do that. Okay, so let's see how that works. Yeah. Like I said, let's get a nice little dip down on the thumb and on the... I think now that I'm looking at this, we might... The neck does still feel a little stiff, so I might add a little up and down on that as well. But first we wanted to get into the hands, so let's just do this other hand really quick. So we want to take the spreads and move them forward. And the nice thing about the hands is once you get one working, you kind of have a good template for the next one. And you don't want to have the exact same thing, but unless you're really punching in the specific values that you had on the other one, you're not going to get that. So let's see. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't make a better hand pose on this one to begin with, so let's go ahead and do that first. And a lot of hand posing really gets into how you group the fingers. Like, that's a grouping of a hand in a more intriguing hand than this, or this, or so that, or that, or that, or that, or that. You get the idea. Anyways, I don't even know how long this video is going. It might be one of my longer ones, but I hope the audio quality is better and that we can actually hear what I'm saying and see what I'm doing. And let's add a little roll into that. Okay, so that should first off give us a little more exciting movement there. And then how did we do it? Did we do it where it lifts up on here and then down on there, I think? Okay. So we're just grabbing all of the bend and stretch controllers. Let's just see. That's alright, we just want a little give on there, remember? And then go in and offset those. So go mid-tip, 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 mid-tip. Delay my frame. Tip, 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 and tip. Reminds me of my dad had a friend and his workplace named Tippy when I was little. I don't know why, but I think about her a lot for some reason. I mean, not like a crazy amount a lot, but every time I hear the word tip, she's the one. Tippy comes to mind. Okay, now the only other thing we really want to ratchet up and lead with the index finger and follow with the little finger. So let's see. let's ratchet up those spreads a little more too. Not in any particular order, but just a little bit, and I'm going to do it on a couple of fingers. And do it in a disorganized fashion so that they do it a little bit different. So let's see. Getting a little too much back and not enough forward, so throw up those forward ones a little bit more. And we'll do the same on the middle spread. And you know what? It's been a little while, so let's save everything off before we do anything more, because we're just kind of getting, we got a good base for everything. We still need to do the thumb. Let's do the thumb and then we'll save everything off. Nope, don't put it off. Always save, because you never know. Control S is your friend. That didn't take long anyways. So the thumb base will go back. Thumb base will go out. Thumb base will go. Actually, I think I had that the opposite way on the other hand, so we don't want to mimic those. So let's switch. Well, we do want to mimic the movement, but not on the same frame. That's working okay for me, so let's check it out on here. Again, it's not really going to be something you just, you'll see the separation. And the one thing with the spreads that's nice is sometimes you won't, especially on the, if you're doing a side view, the hand won't be super noticeable. You'll notice that it's swaying and everything, but every time you get a separation in those fingers and those digits by using that spread, you'll feel that it's still alive and it's still moving. So, see, there we go. And every time I look at it, you want to try and have as fresh of eyes as you can with your animation. And by that I mean now the neck feels too much like it's got too much side to side on it. Oh, my posture's bad on this, but it's hard to be able to look at the screen I'm working on and have okay posture. So maybe I'll move to one of those standing desks that everyone always talks about. I doubt it, but okay. Saving that again. Now I want to get back in here and do a little bit more on the butt. Just going to accentuate that line of action going through there. I think that's a nice line of action as far as they go. I could definitely tweak it more, but for a quick video, it's working pretty well for me. Okay, then we're just going to favor on the butt controller the next step here. And this one I don't really want to get too crazy with animating this a whole bunch. It's just something that I always like to offset a frame just to add a little more life into that controller as well, so it doesn't feel as rigid. The only other things that we really want to hit up is just any sort of foot intersection with the pole here, which you can see like here, toe would be intersecting. And it's not too much, but what we should probably do is take the translate X on, let's say, frame 21, and hit key selected and raise that. We want to push it out is what we're trying to do, so maybe it'd be easier to do it from that perspective. So that hopefully, if we look at it now, we're still getting a little bit. We need to push it back to this frame. Well, the other thing that we got going on here too is that there's no toe flap on that one, so let's see if we add that to it, if that'll do it. There. See, that kind of got rid of that intersection. Now let's watch that step and make sure that we don't have anything. Oh, we got a little bit here too. So that means let's throw some more translate X at that guy. Push it further out. Another thing we could try is adding a little bit of rotate Z into the, is that right? Maybe we'll do rotate Y. if that clears it up. Sorry about that. Wife just got home. She's chatty today. And she got me a snack. Awesome. That is the amazing and wonderful the Sarah. Okay, sounds good. I might cut that out, but I don't know. I'll leave it in. Adds character. You know I'm a real person now, in case you were wondering before. Alright, again, what we're really working on right now is just clearing it up so we don't get these right here, these toe intersects. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we definitely want it to be believable, and if there's a toe going through something, people are going to have problems with that. It's not going to be as believable as it could be. See there? That's no good. We don't want that. Oh, sorry, my stomach's grumbling a little bit there. Maybe if we punch up the translate X a little bit, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's that the toe is doing something funky. Oh, it's because we don't have any toe going back on that one. So let's see. Did that clean it up? No, that almost... Let's see. What if we had this so it went off? Would that work? Okay, yeah, that seems to work alright. And we might do that on the other foot then too. That might keep us from having to do too much translating and rotating either. So the difference here is we're going to have the toe lift up as it goes off. And again, the real 100% accurate way would be to go in every key and do it so that the foot was actually peeling off either with the toe first or the heel first and then pulling away. But for the sake of time and getting these up, we're just going to figure out something that works so that we can put something up every day and get some examples. And that one seems to be doing all right. Oh, we got a little visit from the kitty. Boop boop, say hi. Okay. Now let's see, anything else that really stands out? I feel like that's working pretty well. I think we wanted to add a little more bounce into the neck. So let's just add a tiny bit, just so that it's not super static. Super static. It sounds like a song or something. So let's see. There we go. See? And we'll just clean that up a little bit. And then we'll just put a different kind of expression on the face so that that's not the default one, because that's boring. And then I think we'll call this a walk for today. And as long as this is still recording and everything, I think we'll be good. Okay, so we're just going to save what we have here. And one thing we might do, I might just barely do, is pull these hips back a little bit and push them forward a little bit there, just because I feel like the weight could be better distributed. Distributed. Okay, let's get into that face and stop talking about the word distributed. Okay, so we're gonna go in here, and I'm just kind of doing my default that I like to spread up. I like giving him a bigger lower lip and a poutier underlip here. I don't want too much of a, but maybe just a little bit of that. That'll work. And if you're wondering why the eyes aren't there, it's because the eye controller is right here. But from the side view, sometimes the pupils just go in and out. So we'll just lift that up just for the sake of everything so you can see what we're doing. And so we can add a little bit of lid control. Alright, okay, so let's just check that out one more time. And I think that'll do just fine for today. Remember, today we were talking about secondary action, so that's going to be if my story is guy walks into a room, it's how he walks into the room. Is he grumpy? Is he how do his arms move if he's grumpy? How do his feet move if he's grumpy? If he's happy, how much boisterousness are in his extremities and in his face and all that kind of stuff. That's going to be your secondary action as opposed to your main action, which is just going to be point A to point B. Okay, well, I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope this is better recording quality and better streaming. I got a video up throughout, so I think that's going to be a little bit easier for you to understand. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I'm really enjoying the series with you. If you do like it, remember to give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel. If you have any suggestions for things I can do better or things I should get rid of, definitely just throw it down in the comments below down here. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day. Okay, love ya. And if I can figure out how to end the broadcast in this new program, I would hit this button right